Welcome to the SQN International program. For the first time, you join in the program of SQN International. Please subscribe the channel, like, share our program to everyone. Today, we will introduce to you about subject, is your country developing or not? I hope that it will help you in your learning and life. Now, let's get started. Introduce the economic development goals of each country are different. That development must have a solid foundation to be able to develop in the long term. That development is built from a domestic and international foundation. These two things must proceed in parallel. If the domestic foundation is strong but does not have good foreign relations, economic value will not be created and the country will find it difficult to develop. If foreign relations are good but do not have a solid foundation, they cannot develop long term. If both are absent, the country will collapse in the near future. So let's look at the issues below, which are fundamental domestic issues. Education system. The ultimate goal of education is to help people develop their talents and ethics to help themselves, their families and society. If the purpose of education is to benefit political parties without focusing on people, it will completely destroy that country's education system. For rich countries, people living in their homeland have conditions for development. For underdeveloped countries, they choose classical education to serve political purposes, indoctrinating them with conservative ideas to the point that children feel bored. The education systems of these countries teach students say that teachers keep cramming and students keep memorizing lessons, leaving them with no time to rest and have fun. They try to fill children's heads with useless politics to turn them into pitiful dolls. In developed countries, they teach children to think and criticize things that are unreasonable and incorrect. They stimulate children's exploration and discovery, helping them to develop more and more. The teacher is the one who guides the students and answers the questions that students ask. Looking at the system education is knowing whether the country is developing or not. If the education system is reasonable, it will help the country develop, otherwise the country will never develop. Please see modern education as below. The infrastructure. Economic infrastructure including transportation, irrigation, and transportation systems, road systems, airports, ports, water supply and drainage. Social infrastructure is a part of the field that ensures general conditions for cultural, social, human life development activities with sectors such as education, healthcare, community works, etc. Environmental infrastructure including forest and sea protection works, natural disaster prevention works, and waste treatment systems. National defense and security infrastructure includes a system of facilities for production, storage, and maintenance of weapons, ammunition, etc. This is a picture of infrastructure systems in underdeveloped countries. This is a picture of infrastructure systems in developed countries. Looking at the infrastructure is how to know whether a country is developed or not. In underdeveloped areas, the electrical wiring and cable system is like a spider web all over the street. The drainage system is empty, there is no planning, houses are not built according to the road, where they are built. As a result, when the water drops, the mangrove water cannot drain and leads to flooding. In developed countries they first build drainage systems. When they build houses, they survey the terrain to see if they should build or not. People buried electric wires and cables underground to ensure safety. They created a specific planning system and so proceeded to build a civilized and beautiful country. Healthcare system. A health system is a healthcare system, an organization of people, organizations and resources that provide healthcare services to meet the health needs of target groups. Looking at the health system will help you learn about human issues and developments in the country you live in. In countries that care about human issues, when you go to the hospital you will be treated for free and given the best service, and if you don't have enough money for treatment, they will support you. But in countries that don't care about welfare, if you don't have enough money they won't treat you well, and in this country human life is not as important as money. In developed countries, their standard of living is high and the healthcare system will develop. Accordingly, the healthcare system such as nurses, doctors, drugs, hospital beds, hospital infrastructure, care density, machinery and equipment are all good. For developed countries, success or failure begins with people, so only truly healthy people hope to build a developed country, and for underdeveloped countries, their thinking will be the opposite. Natural resources. The country's natural resources include sun, forests, rocks, minerals, soil, air, oil, water. A country's natural resources are very important. They contribute to the further development of that economy. For developed countries, they will use this resource when necessary. Countries with poor leadership use these resources wastefully, mostly for personal purposes and not for the country's economic development, leading to increasingly poor governance. Natural resources are very important. But there are some countries that have limited resources, but their countries become more and more powerful over time, and we are talking about Japan. Therefore, it is correct to say that natural resources are an important issue for the country's development. But our reasonable use of natural resources is a more important issue. Some countries have many natural resources but still cannot develop due to poor management ability and conservative ideology. Political foundation. Economic development will be based on a stable political foundation, and they are interconnected. For example, you never like a country that always has war. They will feel unsafe when investing because they are afraid that their assets and lives will be lost at any time. The people of that country will feel uncomfortable and unfair when living in a country full of corruption, because corruption is an incurable disease of a country. Religious discrimination will cause difficulties in the lives of every child. People because their lives are inherently equal. Do you prefer to live in a country that uses violence to rule, or a country that lives on the basis of law? Of course, they live on the basis of law because they feel fair, because they are protected by the law. Foreign relations. Whether the country is prosperous or not depends first on whether the economy is developing. If the economy does not develop, the political system will also collapse. Foreign relations are a condition to help a country develop. The important thing is who we learn from and who we hang out with can demonstrate the intelligence of the country's leader. Near ink, it's black. Near light, it's bright. Thank you for watching video of the SQN International channel. You remember to subscribe the channel, like, and share our program with everyone.